Welcome back, everybody. If you've loved and have been following Qarnita Loxton's Being series, then you are in for a treat as she has recently published the final book titled Being Dianne. In this fourth installment, we get to know divorced mum Dianne as she's debating whether to introduce her new girlfriend to her friends, Kari, Lily, Shelley and newest member of the squad, Shireen. To tell us more about this book that aims to entice the reader to love, embrace and to just be themselves is writer Qarnita Loxton, and she joins us now via Zoom. Qarnita, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you. Good morning.
Before we get into Being Dianne, let's first start with where you got the idea to write the Being series that follows the lives of friends, Kari, Lily, Shelley and Dianne.
Well, I suppose it was probably a midlife crisis that started it. I wrote the first book when I was 39 and coming to terms with being a mother. And my friends at that stage were probably one of the biggest supports to me in my life, and they still are. And so that's where the inspiration for having a story about four friends and the impact that they have on each other's lives. And of course, I do live in Cape Town, so it was obvious that I guess I would set my story here where I live.
Okay, and for someone who hasn't read the entire series, just give us a brief breakdown of who Dianne is.
Dianne is a divorced mother of two teenagers. She lives in quite a unique situation across a garden from her ex-husband. So she sees all his new life, his new fiance and all of that. And she's a little bit stuck in her life. Since her divorce, she's had a relationship with a man and a woman. She is not out to her family or her friends. And the homophobic experience that her 16-year-old has at school sets off a range of challenges for her, mostly around who she is and who she wants to be in the world.
Now, do unpack for us, if you can, Dianne's side of the story as you tell it through this book.
Well, Dianne comes across, I guess, as any woman that you would see walking the mall. She's pretty ordinary. She's in a job that she doesn't particularly enjoy. She's not sure where she's going with her life. She hasn't got a strong romantic attachment. And so she is really every woman just going through life. And so the experience that she has with her 16-year-old at school is something that she's not really prepared for. And so it sets off for her an exploration of her identity, who she is with her friends and with her family and also with her ex-husband. And so it's really also, as a parent, how she experiences parenting and what it means to be a mother to a teenage daughter.
And without giving much of the storyline away, just briefly take us through the relationship between Dianne and her ex-husband.
Well, the relationship with an ex it's quite an amicable one. They do live across the double garden from each other. And they really do have their daughter's best interest at heart. But it is now probably about 4 years post-divorce, and his life is moving on a little bit. And so she's frustrated that she doesn't feel her life has moved on in quite the same way. So it is quite a friendly divorce situation, but there are tensions, especially when new partners arrive on the scene.
And another interesting three-way relationship is between Dianne and her ex-lover turned friend, Andile, as well as her new gay love interest, Faye, whom she still questions whether she should come clean about.
Yes. So Andile is her first post-divorce relationship and one that her ex-husband really struggled with. And so it's one that she's also let go of because in preservation of her relationship with her ex-husband and with her daughters. But it is a special relationship to her. It's one that's turned into a friendship and that's still very much present in her life. Her relationship with Faye is one that came about through a Tinder date. Faye lives about an hour away from her. So Faye has become for her a bit of a holiday, an escape into an identity that most of her friends and her family and her children don't know about. So they're two very different relationships. The one is very grounded in her everyday, and the other one is really a bit of a fantasy.
And I suppose one of the core themes in this book is homophobia. And we see this when Dianne's daughter feels the wrath of it at school. I mean, tell us more about this.
Yes, so I don't want to tell too much about the homophobic incident. You've got to read the book for that.
Okay.
But it is an incident, a fairly innocuous one, starts off as a fairly innocuous one at school, triggered as many things are these days, by a WhatsApp conversation that spreads into the school relationship and into a friendship that her daughter has. Dianne wants to support her daughter, but is not really sure how to do so without revealing herself. So it's a situation where a parent has to not only just be a parent, but be a person to her child. And I guess it triggers all the relationship angst that happens between a mom and a daughter ordinarily, but with an added layer of homophobia and sexual identity.
And then there's the conversation that arises between Dianne and her daughter, Dianne and her friends, about, sexuality, identity, and just living an authentic life.
Yes, that is the thread, I suppose, that runs through all of these Being books. I didn't intend it in the beginning, but it's developed like that each of the characters have particular challenges that they face in their lives, but ultimately the intention is that they live authentic lives, that they live in a way that is honest, not only to their friends and to their family and to their children, but also to themselves. And so the stories in each of the Being series are very different. But ultimately, that is the theme that runs through it all.
Mm-hmm. And between Kari, Lily, Shelley, and Dianne, who was the most challenging to write?
Each of them was the most challenging as I went through them. Every word's got to write itself. It doesn't just write itself, But I think my favorite is Dianne. She was, at this point, she was very special to me. She kept me company through lockdown 2020. I wrote most of the story during that time. So it was a challenge and an escape for me as a writer, and I hope also for readers who picked the book up.
The series is very, very interesting. Are you looking on adding more series?
Not at this point. I'm working on another book with a group of writers that will be published in March next year. So for now, a new series is not on the cards.
Okay.
But not really exciting.
And as the focal point being homophobia in this series, what is it that you want the reader to take away after reading the entire series?
I think, firstly, I want to build, it's just the last book that deals with homophobia. Each of the books have got very different challenges. But what I would like readers to take away is to build empathy, to build understanding for what it's like to live in somebody else's shoes, to experience the experiences that they have. And I guess ultimately to be treated or to treat others with kindness and understanding and empathy and all those good things, to treat people as you'd like to be treated, I guess, is a basic, simplistic way.
All right, Qarnita, lovely chatting to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. That was good.
Great stuff. Now, joining us via Zoom there is author Qarnita Loxton, and we've been in conversation with her about her fourth and final book in the Being series titled Being Dianne.